Andy Biggs exposed what's fueling DC's crime wave.
In just a few short years, the city went from having 65% of cases prosecuted to having 65% of cases dropped.
In a House Judiciary Committee hearing on DC's rising crime, the Arizona representative laid it all out, even playing a short video that left the room stunned.
I'm going to show a short video.
That's why today we're breaking it all down, because we're not here to follow parties blindly, we're here for common sense. So, if you're an independent thinker, hit that subscribe button, and let's kick things off with Andy's video.
There have now been 200 homicides so far this year in the district.
The district is in a state of emergency due to the high crime rate.
So far in 2023, 12 children have been shot and killed.
The murder rate in the District of Columbia is skyrocketing.
Crime on DC public transit has jumped to horrific rate.
All crime up 25%, murder up 24%, motor vehicle theft up 107%.
A violent weekend unfolding in the district.
2023 is now the third year in a row where DC has reached 200 homicides.
Police are investigating a series of shootings that includes a mass shooting.
16-year-old was shot and killed, and then bullets went flying into 2 classrooms.
8 people shot and killed in the district in just 72 hours.
A triple shooting in Shaw. 2 women are dead and a teenage girl is in the hospital. Some neighborhoods have seen homicides increase 280%.
The vast majority of them are just fine.
Now, for context, this hearing took place back in 2023, and even then, numbers out of Washington, D.C. were nothing short of alarming. The nation's capital ranked, quote, deadlier than 55 of the country's 60 most populous cities. Think about that for a moment. The seat of our federal government, the very city that's supposed to represent stability and leadership, was nearly at the top when it came to violent crime. Even an outlier like Vox had to put out an article titled, quote, How the Nation's Capital Became an Outlier on Violent Crime. And it hasn't changed much ever since. So the question becomes, why is this happening? I'll let Representative Biggs do the explaining.
The crime we are witnessing just a few blocks from this building is unprecedented. No section of this city can be considered safe anymore, and the man who is in charge of prosecuting the criminals has abandoned his responsibilities, and that's Matthew Graves, the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, who was appointed by President Joe Biden. He is failing to prosecute criminals. His office has consistently declined to prosecute criminals in the district. In 2021, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia opted against prosecuting 67% of arrests presented in the D.C. Superior Court. To provide context, out of the 15,315 arrests made in D.C., 10,261 did not lead to prosecution. In comparison, in 2015, USAODC only declined to prosecute 35% of cases. In just a few short years, the city went from having 65% of cases prosecuted to having 65% of cases dropped. A complete reversal that has had a catastrophic impact on public safety.
Exactly. What makes this issue worse is that no one is immune to the chaos on DC streets. In recent years, we've had Secret Service agents firing at carjackers outside former Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's home. And again, while protecting Joe Biden's granddaughter. In April of this year, Kristi Noem's purse was snatched. And just recently, Doge Big Balls was assaulted by a large group of teenagers in an attempted carjacking. So it's only logical for Trump to take action to bring things under control, especially after the city's leadership has failed year after year.
Mr. Graves has indicated that the type of cases he is refusing to prosecute are primarily illegal gun possession and illegal drug possession cases. Without fail, we can anticipate that my Democrat colleagues will call for more gun control, but President Biden's hand-picked prosecutor for Washington, D.C. refuses to enforce gun laws already on the books. Violent crime rates in Washington, D.C. have seen a significant spike this year. Just last week, the district surpassed 200 homicides, the quickest the district has hit this mark at this point in the year this century. For example, as of October 4th, 2023, MPD data shows 750 reported carjackings, of which an alarming 75% involved weapons. However, there have only been 113 arrests for carjackings this year, with juveniles responsible for an astonishing 65% of those carjackings.
Here's where things get really interesting. After Trump announced the federal government would take over the DC police and the National Guard would be mobilized, several MSM outlets began running articles that the crime rate had been dropping in the last couple of years. Sounds reassuring, right? Well, not exactly. If you scratch beneath the surface, a very different picture emerges. Just a few days ago, a new bombshell report revealed that a former DC police sergeant was suing the Metropolitan Police Department. It's being alleged that, quote, MPD routinely misclassified crimes and that districts compete against each other to get the largest reduction in the crime statistics. For instance, theft and shoplifting cases were relabeled as taking property without right because that category wasn't tracked in the crime report. In other words, the system wasn't solving the crime problem, it was hiding it. But at the end of the day, all this chaos boils down to one core issue, and Representative Biggs broke it down better than anyone else.
City leadership slashed the Metropolitan Police Department budget by roughly $15 million in 2021. And Washington, D.C. City Council has passed laws that embolden criminals and hamstring the police. In November 2022, the D.C. City Council voted unanimously on a bill to overhaul the criminal code, which reduced the maximum sentence for almost all violent crimes and eliminated mandatory minimums for all crimes except first-degree murder. That proposal was vetoed by the mayor, which was later unanimously overridden. The bill was so radical that bipartisan majorities in both the House and Senate passed a resolution to prohibit it from becoming law, and President Biden signed it. In the wake of the May 2020 murder of George Floyd, the district's city council passed police reform legislation that radically changed policing in the district. Unfortunately, city leadership has not always supported law enforcement, and that shows up in recruiting and failure to retain officers who they've spent money training that have simply been let go.
That's the main issue here. When laws aren't enforced, or worse, when enforcement becomes selective and lenient, crime is only bound to rise. It's not rocket science, folks. It's basic cause and effect. Yes, we're talking about DC because it's the national spotlight today. But the issue is widespread across multiple cities and states, and urgent action is needed to solve it. To wrap things up, we have a clip from AOC, which captures how the progressives think about crime and perfectly explains the situation we find ourselves in today.
So why is this uptick in crime happening? Well, let's think about it. Do we think this has to do with the fact that there's record unemployment in the United States right now? The fact that people are at a level of economic desperation that we have not seen since the Great Recession? Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent. And so they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe have to, they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
Don't you hate it when unemployment causes people to break all laws and moral codes, where they decide to hurt others just to put a loaf of bread on the table? This absurd type of thinking fueled policymaking in recent years, and it's about time we do something to fix it. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on this story. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, keep thinking.